Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodananda Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Ashtottara Shata Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Srila Prabhupada ki Anta Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakti Vrind ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Purantarat Shrimadbhagavatam ki Krishna Mahamantra ki Hare Krishna. Welcome to Shrimadbhagavatam reading Devasadan Mandir. Today we are going to read from Canto 1, Chapter 9, The Passing Away of Bhishmadev in the Presence of Lord Krsna. Text 37. Let us start with invocation prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः. Hare Krishna. Welcome once again to Devasadan Mandir Shrimadbhagavatam book reading. We are reading from Shrimadbhagavatam-Canto 1, chapter 9, entitled The Passing Away of Bhishmadev, the Presence of Lord Krsna. Text 37. Swanigamam apahaya mat pratignam Swanigamam apahaya mat pratignam Ritam adhikartum avapluto ratasta Ritam adhikartum avapluto ratastatha Dritha Ratha Charano Abhayat Chaladgur Dritha Ratha Charano Abhayat Chaladgur Harir Iva Hantum Ibham Gato Tariya Swanigamam apahaya mat pratignam Ritam adhikartum avapluto ratastha Dritha Ratha Charano Abhyayat Chaladgur Harir Iva Hantum Ibham Gatotariya Anyone would like to repeat? Swanigamam apahaya mat pratigna Mritam adhikartum avapluto ratastaha Dritharata charano abhyaya chaladhu Hari riva hantum ibam gatotariya Swanigamam apahaya mat pratigna Ritam adhikartum avapluto ratastha Dritharata charano abhyayat chaladhu Haririva hantum ibham gatotariya. We'll go word by word. Swanigamam, own truthfulness. Apahaya, for nullifying. Mat pratignam, my own promise. Ratam, factual. Adi, more. Kartum, for doing it. Avapluta, getting down. Ratasta, from the chariot. Drita, taking up. Ratha, chariot. Charana, wheel. Abhyayat, went hurriedly. Chaladgu, trampling the earth, Hari, lion, Eva, like, Hantum, to kill, Ibam, elephant, Gata, leaving aside, Tariya, covering cloth. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. Fulfilling my desire and sacrificing his own promise, he got down from the chariot, took up its wheel, and ran towards me hurriedly, just as a lion goes to kill an elephant. He even dropped his outer garment on the way. Please repeat. Fulfilling my desire and sacrificing his own promise, he got down from the chariot, took up its wheel, and ran towards me hurriedly. Just as a lion goes to kill an elephant, he even dropped his outer garment on the way. Perfect. The battle of Kurukshetra was fought on military principles, but at the same time in a sporting spirit, like a friend's fight with another friend. Duryodhana criticized Bhishmadeva, alleging that he was reluctant to kill Arjuna because of parental affection. A Kshatriya cannot tolerate insults on the principle of fighting. Bhishmadeva therefore promised that the next day he would kill all 5 Pandavas with special weapons made for the purpose. Duryodhana was satisfied and kept the arrows with him to be delivered the next day during the fight. By tricks, Arjuna took the arrows from Duryodhana, and Bhishmadeva could understand that this was the trick of Lord Krsna. So he took a vow that the next day Krishna would have to take up weapons himself, otherwise his friend Arjuna would die. In the next day's fighting, Bhishmadeva fought so violently that both Arjuna and Krishna were in trouble. Arjuna was almost defeated. The situation was so tense that he was about to be killed by Bhishmadeva the very next moment. At that time, Lord Krsna wanted to please his devotee Bhishma by keeping Bhishma's promise, which was more important than his own. Seemingly, he broke his own promise. He promised before the beginning of the battle of Kurukshetra that he would remain without weapons and he would not use his strength for either of the parties. But to protect Arjuna, he got down from the chariot, took up the wheel of the chariot, and hurriedly rushed at Bhishmadeva in an angry mode. As a lion goes to kill an elephant, he dropped his covering cloth on the way, and out of great anger, he did not know that he had dropped it. Bhishmadeva at once gave up his weapons and stood to be killed by Krishna, by his beloved Lord. The fighting of the day was thus ended at the very moment, and Arjuna was saved. Of course, there was no possibility of Arjuna's death because the Lord himself was on the chariot, but because Bhishmadeva wanted to see Lord Krsna take up some weapon to save his friend, the Lord created this situation, making Arjuna's death imminent. He stood before Bhishmadeva to show him that promise was fulfilled, that he had taken up the wheel. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeyam Shri Gurum Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsta Shri Sagra Jatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parigana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamsta He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Sapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Vaishnaveभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. I'll go through once again translation. Fulfilling my oath and sacrificing his own promise, he got down from the chariot, took up its wheel, and ran towards me hurriedly, just as a lion goes to kill an elephant. He even dropped his outer garment on the way. So yesterday we have seen how Bhishmadev said how the transcendental knowledge was imparted to Krishna to fight in the war. And today he is explaining the very next incident that took place as stated in the purport. Duryodhana approached Bhishmadeva and said, like, why are you showing like partiality towards Pandavas? Like, you are not even killing them, you are not even fighting properly. So Bhishmadeva got very angry and he said, with my special weapons which were kept for Pandavas, I will kill them with them the very next day of the war. The same night, Arjuna, upon instruction of Lord Krsna, approached Duryodhana and had collected those arrows from Duryodhana. And then Bhishmadeva promised that so this act was, of course, it was the act of Lord Krsna. So Krishna has to break his own promise to save his friend Arjuna, or else Arjuna would be killed. So Krishna, as we know, Krishna had made a promise that he won't be using any weapon against the Kauravas. He will be just as charioteer. So Bhishmadeva had made a great vow that the next day Krishna had to break his own promise just to protect Arjuna, his friend. So today we are going to see that, how it's going to happen. And today we are going to see Bhishma's character, the power of woe. And next is the lion and the elephant, Krishna's compassionate anger. And the next goes with Krishna's personalized reciprocation. Starting with the Bhishma, the power of Bhishma's woe. So the Bhishma, as you all know, who was born as Devata, trained by great sages like Parashar Muni and sage Parshuram, and blessed with lifelong celibacy and immense power. Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Jai 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 Shri Gavanatha. So we all know how he had made a terrible promise to his father Shantanu that he sacrifices celibacy and he is bound to protect the Kuru dynasty, and he doesn't want that's why he did not get married, and he is bound to the king's position. As a servant, he will be loyal to that position, even though he is eligible person to get into the throne, but still he sacrificed for his father. And we all know how for a Kshatriya, a vow is equal to a life. A Kshatriya cannot tolerate insults on the principle of fighting, as Srila Prabhupada stated. So the insult from Duryodhana that Bhishmadeva fought half-heartedly pierced him more than any arrow. We all know the words are the strongest weapon in this world because it can harm any person easily and very instantly, because when you are out of your control of tongue, like we don't know how the other person may receive that word, so it is very harmful, like even harmful and more painful than piercing a sword or a knife into the other person's body, because it directly hits the heart and it has immediate effect. So the power of word is like, it's, so that's why we have to use our speech very like precisely, and we have to be very specific in what we are talking with others and how we are dealing with other fellow devotees and all other persons among us. And Bhishmadeva now therefore made a promise that tomorrow I shall kill all the Pandavas unless Krishna himself breaks his vow and takes up the weapon. So, as stated before, here Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, as you all know, who is supporting Pandavas by taking his side, but not using any his weapons in the fight. But he has immense guidance towards them, provided guidance towards them, and he guided Arjuna to take away Duryodhana's 5 special arrows. Bhishmadev, who is a great devotee of Lord, understood this. This is Supreme Lord Krishna's play. So he created a situation to make Krishna fight. So Bhishmadeva knew that this was the act of Krishna. So he said that he had a desire to see Lord Krishna in a very angry mood, and by carrying a huge chariot, a wheel like weapon, huge weapon that was just about to attack him. So I would like to put an analogy over here, like the warrior's honor. Like a soldier who would rather fall on the battlefield than live dishonored, Bhishma's heart burned for integrity. Honor was his dharma, devotion was his soul. So we all know how he upheld his dharma in protecting the Kuru dynasty from his youth to until he reached his old age. Even in war of Kurukshetra, like he was protecting the Kauravas very well, and he was defending and he killed an enormous amount of army from the Pandavas side. He reduced the Pandavas army slowly. So even in Ramayana, to keep his word to Kaikeyi, Dashrath Maharaj has sent Lord Ramachandra to the forest and had left his body on the field. So we understand how the Kshatriyas take the promise to be like utmost important for them to keep is upholding the promise. Whatever the promise they might have given, but still if they doesn't keep that promise, even though they are alive, they are being considered as dead, and there is no value for them if they do not uphold those promises. And there is a story of King Shibi, and he had a situation like a bird had approached him like in a very critical situation, in a injured situation. Then the hunter also approached it, he said I'm gonna kill this. So King Shibi had made a promise that I'm gonna protect this small bird. Instead, he said he's gonna give his own flesh to the hunter. So he started weighing the weight of that bird and the flesh of him. But even though how much ever it had, he kept his own body flesh, it was not been balancing. So then after some time, he himself had enter into the balance. Then this pigeon or dove and hunter, they were the Lord Indra and Lord Yama, who is the king of Dharma, so god of Dharma. So they were in disguise and they were testing the King Shibi. So from then onwards, King Shibi was very famous and he is known for his charity and his compassion and his promise. The way even he did not count on himself like just to protect a bird, he made the promise and he upheld that promise. So that was the power of a vow upheld by the Kshatriyas and many saintly kings that we see in our Itihasas and Puranas. So I would like to ask a question like, in our lives, what do we value more, comfort or commitment? Yeah, like there might be many scenarios or situations, like out of most of the situations, what would be our choice? Like if we are committed one thing, like even though if you are not comfortable, would you be able to do that, or would you take only like stay in a comfort zone itself?
I feel like commitment's more powerful.
So yeah, I mean, if we take example, like if our guru instructs something that even at start of our journey, it might be we may face some difficulties, but if we try to follow that, eventually it leads to a successful path. And we all know how following guru's instructions is also very important, and not disobeying them, like it's an offense to the holy name as well. So because here Bhishmadev shows the spiritual integrity outweighs convenience. So yeah, so the purpose, the whole and soul intention of that instruction or commitment that you made has a unique and outstanding character of yours display. So just as Bhishma's vow defined his life, our vows at initiation define our spiritual journey. They are not casual promises, they are lifelines of love. Because they are the protection for us from all this material world contaminations and miseries. Those are the protecting walls for us, and gurus or sadhus are keeps us protected from the Maya, the illusion and material world. So one key takeaway is bhakti begins when integrity meets surrender. So Krishna honors our sincerity just he honored Bhishma's. The next goes with the lion and elephant, as we have seen in the analogy in translation, how Bhishmadeva has said that Lord Krsna, just as an angry lion goes to kill an elephant, he was just rushing towards me in a great angry mood. So, as stated before, the Bhishmadeva promised that he would make Krishna break his vow. He fought very vigilantly, he was almost about to kill Arjuna the very next moment. But then Krishna, without even thinking for a next thought of his breaking his vow, he just left the chariot at once and then broke the chariot wheel which was lying down, and he just carried it. Even though he made a promise, he know that he had made his promise, like he don't carry any weapon and he won't kill anyone from the other side. But still, in order to protect his devotee Arjuna, and then even he wanted to fulfill the promise of Bhishmadev. Then he lifted this chariot wheel and he was rushing towards Bhishmadeva to kill her. But we all know, Arjuna, who is a dear devotee of Krishna, had stopped Krishna in doing that, and he reminded Krishna, you have made a promise that you won't carry any weapon, and now if you do this, this would not be good example for others. Then Lord Krishna has took a pause on it, and he started interacting with Bhishmadeva. So Prabhupada writes, at that time, Lord Krishna wanted to please his devotee Bhishma by keeping Bhishma's promise, which was more important than his own. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Kaunteya Pratijanahi Name Bhaktya Pranashati. He asks Arjuna to make a promise that his devotees will never perish, because he knew that sometimes he may have to break his promise. But if a devotee of him, like if a pure devotee, dear devotee of him promises anything, that Krishna will go to any extent to make his promise possible and upheld. So the example that we have seen here. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for whom all creation dances, decides that his devotee's word matters more than of his own. So here we see the scenario, the situation. Krishna's vow is, I shall not lift up any weapons, and Bhishma's vow is, Krishna will take up his weapons. I will make sure that will happen. So who do you think who has won in this two promises? Yeah, actually it's the love of devotee, it has won, because a devotee has a desire to see the Krishna in that angry, like ferocious form. But yeah, we all know how Krishna as a Bhaktavatsala, he makes the devotees, like he pleases devotees by fulfilling their promises and desires. So for the Lord, love is higher than the law. Because as you all know, like we have seen many examples of saintly kings, they have upheld their promise. But still here, even though Krishna is the ruler of Dwaraka, but still he made his promise, and then he has to break his promise just to please his devotees and their own desires. So one of the analogy I would like to quote on this is the father saving the friend's child. So if a father jumps into the river to save his friend's child, neglecting his own, we call it madness in this world, or crazy. But in Krishna, that madness is divine affection. Krishna broke his own vow to uphold his devotee's promise. So imagine how detailedly Bhishmadev has described, how intensely he described the situation, just as if we try to imagine the scenario would be happening just as live. Because Krishna jumps from the chariot wheel in hand, eyes blazing, robe is slipping off, running like an elephant, running like a lion toward the mighty elephant, like Bhishmadeva. The earth trembles, Bhishmadeva drops his bow, opens his arms, tears flowing. At last, my Lord has accepted defeat for my sake. So, because how easily it was being depicted, how detailed, that much, even they can just write a one word like Krishna has broke his promise and he was just carrying chariot. But Bhishmadeva had very specific, like he gave an analogy at that situation also, like he compared a lion coming to kill an elephant. So how powerful and how ferocious that. And how many of us would like to aspire for something like Bhishmadeva's desire, like Krishna would come towards us in a ferocious form? Like not many of us would have that reason. So that was the highest level of Bhishmadeva. He's a great Mahajan, as you know, like one of the Mahajan. So he's a topmost, like pure devotee of the Lord. So that was the ecstatic level of love. We are just tiny pattern vessels, so we are just in a process of purification. So yeah. So Krishna's apparent anger is saturated with affection. And for a devotee, every mood of the Lord, even wrath, is the love shown towards him. Because even if we take an analogy, like a simple day-to-day example, like if a mother chastises his or her chastises her child, does it mean like she doesn't like him, or does it mean like she's always angry on him? No, right? Her intention is to correct the child if he's going wrong. So similarly, even if sometimes if Lord shows his anger towards his devotees, that doesn't mean like he doesn't love you, but actually he loves you a lot and he wants you to be corrected, so he takes a great care and affection towards us. So as we stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.31, Kaunteya pratijanahi name bhakta pranashati. Krishna says Arjuna to make a promise that his devotees shall never perish. And in Shrimad coming cantos, in 9th canto, Narayana tells Durvasa, I am dependent on my devotees. Krishna shows that dependence in action over here. So the analogy of lion goes over the elephant is like the lion symbolizes divine energy. The elephant symbolizes the huge material strength. When divine compassion charges forward, all material pride must go. Bhishma, though mighty as an elephant, bows before the roaring love of the Lord. So that was the analogy that's been depicted over here. So God breaking his promise is not failure, but it is fulfillment of his devotees' desire. He fulfills the higher promise of Bhakta Vatsalya, that vow that he will always protect his devotees. The takeaway of this section is, the Lord's greatest glory lies not in keeping rules, but in keeping relationships, his loving relationships with his devotees. His law is love, as we even generally say, like everything is fair in love and war. So, what to speak of Krishna's love? So, his divine plan. So, and next comes as Krishna's personalized reciprocation. So, each and every one of us story with Krishna is custom made. It's a very unique, we have a unique relationship with Krishna. Bhishma made a battle vow. Ours may be struggles of faith, loss or service, but in every case, Krishna personally intervenes. And Krishna comes in the form of Guru and spiritual master to us, and he instructs us. And we all know Krishna stays in each and every living entity as Paramatma, like Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivistu matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha vedasya sarve raham veda vedyo vedanta krit veda vidyeva chaham. So he, as Paramatma, he resides in everyone's heart and he guides that soul to lead a good path and make a easy path to Godhead, back to home. So Krishna knows how to touch each heart. So with Arjuna, he delivers his friendship and guidance. As we all know, we have seen, the Gita, Bhagavad Gita is a true example how he guided Arjuna and all of us through the way of Arjuna. And with Bhishma, he is challenging and fulfillment of honor. And with Draupadi, his protection and dignity. And with Gopis, pure love, ecstatic pure love. And the analogy is like the tailor-made suit. Just as no two suits or clothes fit alike, Krishna's reciprocation fits the soul's unique shape. Because not everyone would be getting the same kind of reciprocation. Each and everyone has a different journey, different path, like we don't know when we have come to this material world. We don't know what we have done in our previous lives. So Krishna knows us, knows all of us, and he knows what is better for us than we think what is better for us. So we may all think like we may all undergo many practical situations, like many hazardous situations or terrible situations we may undergo. So how you have been like saved in that terrific situation, the failures that redirected you, the pains that purified you. So each was Krishna's hand, personally crafting our path. We may think like we may are facing difficulties, miseries, but Krishna is making some beautiful design in our life. We as we all know, how a weaver like weaves and how he makes a design. But initially it looks like, what is this? What is this crazy thing? What is doing? But later, after a few time passed, we see an amazing picture, amazing craft over the cloth. So we have just hope, keep faith on Krishna and have a firm faith on Krishna and do our duty and rest live upon Krishna. So one more analogy I would like to quote is the treasure box of mercy. So we may all have many memories. So collecting these memories, they are the jewels of faith. When doubt arises, open that treasure box and remember how he personally intervened. And even there's a famous quote by many of our acharyas: Krishna gives and forgives, and we get and forget him. We get everything. What do speak of? Whatever we are enjoying in this life, we are enjoying this. Like whatever you have, material opulence, or whatever you have, like whatever the status you have, everything is given by Krishna. But still, how many of us do remember constantly Krishna at every moment, we have to show our gratitude, we have to show our love towards him. I would like to quote a small example, like the government which is supplying some necessity commodities like water or some gas or something, it charges tax or something, right? So what to speak of Krishna if he would like to charge for the pranavayu, the air that we are inhaling? How much would it be? How much the tax would it be? But still, he is so merciful. He gives us freedom of will, so that we have to better utilize it and getting redirected towards the path of Sanatana Dharma and practice Krishna consciousness in a better way. One of the key takeaway is Krishna doesn't deal with templates. He deals with the hearts, because Krishna's plan is ultimate and our surrender writes our own chapter in his play. As we see in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharman Pariteja Mamekam Sharanam Raja. Leave all the varieties of religion, just surrender unto me, I will protect you from all the sinful reactions. Krishna made this promise in Bhagavad Gita. So how important is that, following Krishna consciousness and making our life more and much more better than previous. So even in Bhagavad Gita 4.11, Krishna says, as they surrender unto me, like whoever devotees surrender unto me, I reciprocate accordingly. Bhishmadev surrendered through chivalrous love. Krishna reciprocated through heroic affection. Because Bhishmadeva, being a warrior, he wanted that desire to see his beloved Lord in that chivalrous form. And Krishna, being Bhaktavatsala, he reciprocated through that similar desire and fulfilled that. So I would like to conclude today's lecture by a few summary takeaway points. Krishna is Bhaktavatsala. He lives for his devotees. Bhakti is reciprocal. Our sincerity pulls his heartstrings. Love transcends law. The real promise is, I will never abandon my devotee. If Krishna could break his own promise for Bhishma, what will he not do for you if he keep your faith in him? If we sincerely try to render service Krishna and serving devotees and be in association of devotees and try to follow all the regulative principles and try to chant the holy name with the utmost sincerity and try to keep faith in him, so he will automatically reciprocate that your love and devotion, and he will, even though he may we may face some difficulties at some points of stage, but still if we try, he will make us to overcome those difficulties with an ease. If we try to do on our own, we cannot succeed, and he has to, he's a sanctioner, ultimate sanctioner, he has to sanction whatever. So the ideal prayer should be like, Krishna, whatever you feel that is good for me, please just grant me. And as per for the devotional service, like I want your devotional service birth after birth, like as in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also says in Sikshastaka, like he aspires for only causeless devotional service birth after birth. He doesn't want any material opulence or women or followers or wealth. He just wants us devotional service, because that is the greatest treasure for us devotees. When Supreme Lord Krishna is with you, and what else you require, everything is been covered. He is the supreme person of Godhead. So, yeah. Hare Krishna, I would like to continue. Any comments, questions, discussions?
Yes, I think even when we read the prayers that are in the room too, like Krishna promises to take care of us, even though we make mistakes and stuff. So I think having that gratitude in life, like if we understand, like I think even the things we have or the situations we're in or whatever it may be, like we see with the kind of gratitude and stuff and appreciate what Krishna is doing for us, then like it strengthens our faith and commitment and stuff. Like what Guru has done for us, what Shrimadbhagavatam has done for us, right? It strengthens our commitment to that and stuff. So like having that heart is very, I thought, like, is one thing that can help increase the commitment, increase that faith. So I like that. Yeah. It would be very scary. Krishna is alive. I mean, he comes as Bhishmadev, right? At the same time, like, it's just like, Jay! So, but like, he's like attacking. So, best to maybe serve Krishna when he comes.
Yeah, everyone of us has his favorite form.
His favorite form.
Like some devotees may like the form of Damodar, some people may like his Radha Kunjabihari form, some people may like his various other forms, like various Narsingadev.
It's so amazing. Everyone has their nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are so many pastimes that are so wonderful, that everyone can relate to one of them. They're so diverse.
And I would like to ask one question, like recall one moment when things should have gone wrong, but something unseen has protected you.
Many times. I mean, everything from like one time I was walking with Prabhupada, we were crossing the road, and I didn't see the car coming, like the car was turning left, and like literally he like grabbed me and pulled me, otherwise that car would have hit me because of distracted driving, right? And stuff like that. I would have been hit by a car and stuff. So I was just thinking like how precious mercy, like someone's with you to pay attention. Like from that to like so many things, and like precious mercy, I feel like also comes in like sometimes if we feel like a little bit proud or ego or something, it smashes it. It's also his mercy. It's also his mercy, right? Like and stuff. And promises to like. I feel like that's part of like the promise of like, if I take one step towards Krishna, like he'll take 100 towards me. Like how can I become surrendered to him? So he shows me how to become surrendered to him. One time I was cooking in the kitchen. I will never forget this and stuff. And I was baking cookies for Krishna, and like they were perfect, beautiful cookies. Like like you can hear like with beautiful like all same size, shape, like perfectly cooked brown and stuff. I went to go put it in the cooling rack, and those trays fit in the cooling rack and stuff. There should be no reason. I put it in the cooling rack, let go, the whole tray turned upside down. Every single cookie and stuff like that. I didn't want it, right? Like so, like I felt so proud about those cookies. I should say
That's so funny.
So many little things. But you have to like
many examples in our day-to-day life also, like many situations like in which like we may have to face much of the difficulty, but it might have been quite a miracle, like it would be going in quite a few times, like so there was enormous like multiple situations, even in our like present day today, like we may see many examples. The mercy is flowing, even as Mataji said, like if we try to like feel sometimes pride or ego, Krishna sends his associates through Guru or sadhus. Sometimes they will try to correct us, by seeing them and by hearing through their instructions, we see like how much low we are and how that humility should be imbibed in us.
And then commitment to Guru, right? And you take initiation and stuff and making that commitment to Guru.
Yeah.
It's also, it's a big commitment, but at the same time, like, Guru doesn't take you as a disciple unless he thinks you're ready to become a disciple.
Yeah.
There too, right? It's a two-way street. So you may be like, oh, I go, but like, Guru's ready to accept you, it also doesn't happen. So, like appreciating that commitment and stuff and seeing how much like they're doing for you is you can serve them as well too. So
Because Guru has a greater responsibility of taking us back to Godhead. So we have to be very sincere in our endeavor, and we should not commit any offenses, and we should not disobey the orders of spiritual masters. So that's today. Hare Krishna. Grantha Shrimadbhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.